Have you ever noticed how your priorities change as you grow older? The things that once felt essential, like keeping up with a large circle of friends, don't seem quite as important anymore. And here's the surprising truth: after 70, you don't actually need friends in the way you once did. That may sound shocking at first, but when you look closer, it makes sense. Embracing independence and focusing on your own well-being can be one of the most freeing choices you'll ever make. In this video, we're going to explore 6 reasons why friendships aren't as necessary in your later years as they used to be. We'll uncover how your mindset, freedom, and even your health can improve when you stop forcing relationships that no longer serve you. This isn't about loneliness, it's about living life on your own terms, free from unnecessary expectations and obligations. Stay with me until the end, because once you hear these reasons, you may see your later years in a whole new light. Reason number 1: you no longer need to prove yourself. When you were younger, friendships often revolved around validation, fitting in, keeping up appearances, or impressing others. Maybe it was colleagues, neighbors, or social circles you felt pressured to maintain. But after 70, all of that falls away. You've lived your life, built your legacy, and you no longer need anyone's approval to feel valuable. Take Harold, for example. In his corporate years, he was always surrounded by colleagues and acquaintances he called friends. But after retiring, most of those ties vanished. At first, he tried to keep them alive, until he asked himself, why? Why hold on to relationships that were never genuine to begin with? Once Harold stopped chasing social validation, he felt lighter, freer, and happier. No more small talk, no more pressure to impress, just living life on his own terms. That's the power of reaching this stage: you finally realize you don't need to prove yourself to anyone. Reason number 2: peace becomes more valuable than socializing. When you're younger, being around people feels exciting: the noise, the conversations, the gatherings. But as you age, something shifts: you begin to treasure peace more than constant socializing. Friendships, even good ones, come with obligations, calls to return, invitations to accept, and unspoken expectations to maintain. At some point, it can feel more draining than rewarding. Margaret, at 74, noticed this herself. Once active in social groups, she realized that many interactions had become repetitive or even stressful. So she let go of the guilt of saying no, embraced solitude, and found peace in simple joys: reading, walking, and spending quiet mornings with herself. That's the gift of this stage: solitude stops feeling lonely and starts feeling peaceful. Reason number 3: fewer friendships mean fewer disappointments. By 70, you've likely learned the hard truth: not everyone you call a friend truly stands by you. Some drift away, some only take without giving back, and some friendships fade altogether. William, at 78, realized this. For years, he was the one putting in all the effort, making the calls, arranging visits, while others stopped showing up. It stung at first, but then he understood: letting go of one-sided relationships means letting go of disappointment. Fewer friendships don't mean isolation, they mean freedom from unmet expectations. Instead of frustration, you gain peace. And instead of quantity, you can focus on the few relationships that truly matter. Reason number 4: your time becomes more precious. As you grow older, you understand just how valuable your time really is. Friendships, no matter how positive, require time and energy. Calls, visits, plans, all of it takes up your limited hours. Richard, in his 80s, once lived a very social life. But eventually, the conversations felt repetitive, and gatherings started feeling like chores. He decided to stop saying yes out of habit and instead spend his time on what brought him real joy: reading, walking, and learning new things. The result? He felt freer and more fulfilled than ever. Because when you let go of unnecessary friendships, you gain the most valuable thing of all: time to enjoy life at your pace. Reason number 5: true companionship comes from within. We're taught to believe happiness comes from others, that being social is the cure to loneliness. But the reality is, the most important companionship you'll ever have is with yourself. Eleanor, at 76, once filled her days with social activities. Yet despite being surrounded by people, she often felt drained. One day, she decided to treat herself like her own best friend. She went on solo walks, read in cafes, and embraced evenings of quiet reflection. To her surprise, she discovered a deeper sense of happiness and peace than she'd felt in years. That's the secret: once you enjoy your own company, you never feel truly alone. You stop needing constant validation from others and instead build a deep, fulfilling relationship with yourself. Reason number 6, letting go opens the door to fulfillment. Many people cling to friendships out of habit, even when they no longer bring joy. But letting go doesn't mean isolation. It means creating space for the life you truly want. James, in his late 70s, once believed staying busy with social obligations was the key to aging well. But he realized most of his conversations were empty routines. So he made a shift. He stopped forcing connections and focused instead on health, hobbies, and nature. And for the first time in years, he felt lighter, happier, and more at peace. That's what happens when you let go. You free yourself from obligations that weigh you down, and you create room for what truly matters. Final thoughts. So, do you really need friends after 70? The answer is no, not in the way you once did. What you need is freedom, peace, and self-fulfillment. By letting go of friendships that no longer serve you, you gain more time, more clarity, and a deeper sense of happiness than you ever imagined. Now I want to hear from you. What stood out most in today's video? Which of these 6 reasons resonated with you? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to know your perspective. And if you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.